Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Thoughts on Education. Today we have Honorable Pro Chancellor of the NorthCap University, Dr. Milind Padalkar, with us, and I'm Shubhangi Pai from Collegedunia. So, sir, before we go ahead with the questions, would you like to introduce yourself to the viewers?
Well, they have already heard my name. I'm an academic and a corporate role to one. I have a long experience in corporate and also sufficiently long experience in academics now. My educational background is that I have a PhD from IIM Calicut, or Kozhikode as they call it in Kerala. I am an MBA from IIM Ahmedabad and a BTech from IIT Delhi. And I have worked extensively in corporate life, running business units, and operated in multiple countries, including having lived in US, etc. So I combine the understanding of industrial life, corporate life, as well as the academics.
Okay, that's nice, sir. So you have held various positions throughout your career. What are the key factors that keep you organized and especially inclined towards the education sector?
Well, the simplest answer to that is I come from an educational family. Okay, right from my great grandfathers, almost everybody in my extended family, including my mother, have been a teacher.
Okay.
But more importantly, while working in the corporate life, I became aware that there is a gap between the academics and corporates.
Mm-hmm.
And this gap is not healthy for either of us, in the sense that in corporate life, we do benefit from serious understanding of underlying theories and knowledge bases, which are always evolving. And the reality, outside reality, needs to come into the classroom as well. In fact, one of my stronger stint in the IT industry has involved, for a brief while, has involved getting good quality talent into the company.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I had interacted extensively with top campuses. Have understood the difficulties of producing good quality caliber or good quality talent, which in industry we were always hungry for, and we still are hungry. I mean, I still think that the industry is hungry for good people.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore there is no shortcut to it. We simply have to create good people, and therefore I began my academic stint by just articulating two truisms: that the industry must come into the classroom,
Mm-hmm.
in as much as if the classroom wants to go into the industry has to come to the classroom. These are not two separate worlds. And the second is that education does not happen in the classroom alone. Today, if you look at the full professional, there are degree holders and there are degree holders. But what makes a difference is the unique ability, cognitive ability, or influential ability that the student or the candidate will have. In addition to the knowledge he or she possesses,
Mm-hmm.
the student or the candidate must make an impact. And many times in the industry, the situations will not come pre-packaged. You may not have faced those situations ever.
Exactly.
And yet you have to be versatile. Okay, you have to be agile as well as versatile.
Mm-hmm.
This element of versatility is what, in some sense, from industry we used to look for, the energy and versatility. Now, on the academic side, if we can create a similar experience and similar skill set in the student as he or she receives the degree, that we are also testifying to the fact that there is a flexibility, agility, versatility,
Mm-hmm.
basically the energy to solve problems which are not predefined and which may not have been solved before. Okay, then we are creating something that is of value. And this is a win-win, because industry needs such people. The people themselves will find a good future if they are prepared like this and not indifferently prepared. And a secondary loop or tertiary loop will come back to the institute for having done something good. So it's always worth doing something good, which is what I believe, and that's what our attempt will always be.
That's nice, sir. That was really insightful. So, sir, what is your philosophy of leadership And how would you like to describe your leadership style?
You see, a leader must equate to a change. You do not need leaders to operate the running systems. Okay, to me, that's supervision.
Yeah.
Anybody can supervise. The true leadership is always in change, and change is happening around us all the time. The technology is changing, and the technology isn't asking our permission whether it should change. As the technology changes, it has a very strong ripple effect in almost everything that we do. Take, for example, the COVID pandemic. What has happened to the cash? Earlier, cash was the king.
Yeah.
Okay, and today, people are so used to digital payments. Now, this is one digital technology that has been waiting to be absorbed. A pandemic comes along, and now that becomes the norm. Not only that becomes the norm, now it will change the way the economics works, public policy works, the taxation works. Even the legal profession will change because of the heavy digital payments and digital frauds. So you might need new cyber laws or new fraud prevention systems. IT will change. Basically, where I'm coming from is that the world is changing around us all the time. And it is not necessary to say that technology is only for engineers. It has impacts on management, it has impact on economics, public policy, law, every profession. All right. And so how can we be part of this change? And change will always be enabled through people. Okay, not machines. We do talk about artificial intelligence and machine learning and robotics, etc. But the human brain is behind organizing, orchestrating these machines for a certain end purpose. And so that human brain or human energy to make sense of the ambiguity and uncertainty around us and the complexity around us, that will always be required. The winners in tomorrow's world will be those who can parse uncertainty and ambiguity and complexity. It's that VUCA world,
Yeah.
So going beyond the jargon, it is absolutely true that tomorrow's professional needs to be equipped to play in a world that is not defined, or that is, let me say, it is less and less defined. It does not matter whether you are an engineer or a management student or a law student or a commerce student. The challenges are there for everybody. And when the challenge is for everybody, the opportunity is also for everybody.
Exactly.
To make a difference. And therefore, if you want to break out, and this is an opportunity for us, not just as individuals or institutions, for the whole country, I would say, for the whole society, it is there is a moment that we have, which is, I call a breakout moment. What we do now will define where we will be. And if we don't do nothing, okay, then the future will come to us, but we will be least prepared for it. And so, technology and digital way of life has to be interwoven into almost all aspects of how we work, how we live, and so technology is not the domain only of engineers. It is for everybody, and mastering these changes is important. Preparing people to master these changes is important, and therefore I say leadership should always be equated with change, a positive change and a durable change, and that's my philosophy.
That was nice, sir. And sir, how does the curriculum of the NorthCap University ensure the industry best practices?
There are a variety of ways, and basically the undercurrent is that our faculty is basically the software of the machine. Okay, if buildings are the hardware of the machine, the faculty is the software. The faculty is strongly industry connected. We are scanning the trends in industry all the time. We introduce new courses, new programs, new curricula, new specializations, and this change that we try to do is sometimes it's little upsetting for people, because we're changing faster than the normal pace of change that you are used to in academics, but it's necessary. Because if we change, let's say we change something today, an engineer is going to come out after 4 years. And therefore, it becomes important for us to sit down and define what the world will be like 4 years later for the degree to matter in the hands of the engineer. The similar situation is with management professional or management student, law student, whichever school you have. And we have 3 schools, management, engineering and law. Today, we will have more schools and more programs, of course. However, the idea is that a student is going to spend 3 years, 4 years, 5 years with us. This is a dedicated time that the student will give to us. Okay, and let's recognize that for these 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, whatever the duration of the program is, this is the project for the person, the only project for the person, the only project for his or her parents, and perhaps the most important project in life. As you move from class 12 to a full degree holder, a professional that is certified to operate in the modern economy, this is a transition change, and this only a university can do. Nothing else can do. The walking on the streets and working in the corporates will make you smart, but will not make this kind of a transformation. Homes cannot do it. Okay, so university is the only place where this fundamental transformation can occur, and for that to happen, the faculty has to set its sight on what the world will be like after 3 years, 4 years. And are we teaching, are we imparting that kind of a vision, those kind of ideas to the students in the classroom today, so that when they walk out, they feel ready. They feel ready. So that's important. And fundamentally, if you prepare the students well, then I know that the industry has an unlimited hunger for people. Unlimited hunger. Nowhere it is more obvious than the disparity between wages across students having the same degree. Okay, so there is people talk about a problem that we are not training our engineers well. Only certain percentage of engineers are employable. 10-15% of engineers are employable. 7-12% of management students are employable, etc. This lament I hear from everybody, and surveys also talk about that. For us, that's not a problem, because we have, depending on which program you look at, anywhere between 99% placement to north of 80% placement. So, but placement is only a signal that we do something right, and it is also an encouragement to us that we should continue doing what is right. Okay, because that's in a sense that's a quality check for us, but that is a quality check for everybody. If I hold a degree, a BTech or a BBA or MBA or LLB, I should be fit for operating in tomorrow's economy or tomorrow's society. I should be completely fit. And that is the challenge the university must undertake. And as NorthCap University, we have undertaken that challenge always. We are a 25-year-old university. We are a very reputed university in our region. And we certainly have formidable strengths. We are very well known. Now, is that enough for us? It is not enough, because the world around us is changing. The NEP 2020 is already talking about internationalization, free student movement, student-based choices or choice-based curricula, free transfers across students, credit transfers, and all that. These are all very, very nice, very forward-looking ideas. And secondly, what has happened is that we have a Gen Z now in the classroom. Okay, unlike the way we were trained, today's student learns differently. Now, therefore, we can't teach the student the way we were taught, because that would be a disaster. And in my opinion, whichever institution tries to teach the old times, which I call chalk and board, okay, whichever institution does not move away from that will have a issue, because you will not connect to the student of tomorrow. You will the student is already on the smartphone, and the teacher is still on chalk and board. So that will not work, in my opinion. We will have to embrace this digital world. We will have to get into the life of the student, the way learning happens, and not the way teaching happens. And there is no shortcut to that, but we don't have time for it either. And therefore, we have to actually collaborate. We have to get good ideas, content, collaborations from wherever that might come, because the world is the same for everybody. And therefore, we recently signed a strategic agreement, which is, I think, one of a kind. Strategic agreement with Arizona State University, which is one of the leading state universities in the US. But it's not just Arizona State University. We have signed up an agreement which is a network of universities. So Arizona State University, along with other participating universities in different countries, that is the significant agreement that we have signed. Unlike I see many other universities doing point-to-point collaborations. Ours is not a point-to-point collaborations. Ours is a you might say marketplace of ideas, or a network of ideas, where we will experiment, we will discover something good in terms of pedagogy, teaching methods, content, etc. And we will give that to the network, and from network we will receive similar best practices. Why are we doing this? We are doing this to cut the lead time, cut the cycle time. Because if we try to do it organically, incrementally, it takes too long, and the outside reality is changing much faster upon us. Now, fortunately, we are a standalone university. We are not like a larger university with affiliated colleges. Their problems are going to be far more complex. Okay. Fortunately, we are small enough to be agile, but large enough to fulfill the needs of students of tomorrow.
Yes, sir. So as we are coming towards end, I would just like to ask, how is your relationship with the students of your university? And also, if you would just like to give them a message to the current youth of the country.
Our relationship is good, okay? Because fundamentally, we receive students who are interested in doing something with themselves, something with their lives. So we do a whole bunch of things for them. Of course, we teach, so the teaching rigor and the labs, etc., those are there, and those, in that sense, we don't differentiate in terms of the assets, but we differentiate in terms of what happens inside the classrooms and what happens inside the labs. But like I said, education does not happen in the classroom alone. So we encourage a number of sports, societies, committees, clubs, for students to do things which are outside of the academics, and these are also required for personality development. Because tomorrow's world is not sufficient to be just knowledgeable. It is necessary to have skills, and skills can be learned but not taught. So we as a university, we do create an environment where students can experiment with themselves, discover their pluses and minuses, and educational program is the time where you iron out your minuses and improve your pluses, where you might discover that you are an engineering student, and you might discover that you have aptitude in filmmaking, for example. I find that, okay, some very nice short film makers are engineers, and I can't explain it, but I find that. Okay, you might discover that you are good in talking, debating, you are good in dramatics, or you are good in sports. Okay, so play to your strengths is my message for students. Discover yourself. First of all, discover yourself. Okay, this is your project. Your degree is your project. And find out your strengths and grow them, and reach out to us for improving your skills and working out where you think you have weaknesses, etc. This is the time to do that. Outside, once you go outside the world, you will not get that time.
Exactly. That was all from my side, sir. Anything else you want to speak about?
Well, I will say this. Education is often taken very cynically by people, by industry people. From my former colleagues in industry, there is the theory has become a bad word. We say, oh, he's only a theoretical person. That means he is not practical, etc. None of that is true. The stereotypes we should not have. And education has become a drag and a bore, frankly, for many students.
Mm.
And so students look at, and perhaps parents also, look at a degree as only an instrument to get placement and a good job. Okay? But education should be much more than that. Education can be much more than that. Education can be something that fundamentally changes you, and therefore you become a strong performer, no matter where you are. And that should be the objective. And therefore the person behind the degree is what should matter. And we want to see a person behind a degree that is, first of all, a fine human being, an ethical one. Secondly, a very solid professional. Third, a professional who can get things done rather than assigning it to somebody else. Okay, take charge and get things done.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my message to the students. This is the promise that you should make to yourself. If you do that, then you will find that the NorthCap University will be a fertile ground for you.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you so much for an insightful session, sir. It was amazing hosting you.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much, sir.